Hi everyone, let's go over my medium time frame, low time frame and micro scenarios including potential trading setups, starting with my bullish medium time frame Elliott Wave scenario on Bitcoin, where I'm looking for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now inside this wave 3 we then have an extended wave 1 impulse, which basically means that the targets for wave 2, 3, 4 are different than the usual impulsive moves. Most importantly is that wave 3 is not allowed to be the shortest wave, which is also not the case because this wave 5 is the shortest wave. So now we then have a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this wave 3, where all the targets for wave 2, wave 4, 3 and 5 have been hit. Then we have this WXY in wave 4 bouncing right on top of the 0.146, which is a rare target for wave 4. It's a very shallow target for wave 4, but as you can see, it has been very nicely respected before now this move to the upside. If we look at this move to the upside, we have wave 1 over here, followed by wave 2, and now we have this wave 3 to the upside, where the minimum target has been reached for an expanded wave 3, which is the 1.618 target. As you can see, we wicked once, twice, 3, and now 4 times into the 1.618. Now this could be the high of this wave 3, as I will show you on the low time frame and the micro scenario, and then we could be now starting a potential correction for a wave 4 before then eventually a wave 5 to the upside. Now when we look at potential targets, there's two areas I'm looking for. The first one is the SFP over here. It's basically the high of a range that we made in 2022, and this is very interesting for a liquidity grab. So if price is going to reach this high, it might be the point for then a reversal to the downside. And if this is the high of wave 3 and we are now going to correct in a wave 4, I do think that potentially the high for wave 5 might be this swing failure pattern area at 32.4k. However, what would be maybe even nicer if price could go to the upside just a little bit more towards the 34.9k area. However, this then means that this wave 3 has to be even more extended, where very likely wave 3 itself has to go and get the liquidity of this swing failure pattern of the highs over here. So then wave 3 has to end a little bit higher for then a wave 4 and then a wave 5. Because based on how waves are then structured, instead of this being a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can see if from the high of wave 4 you want to go and have a wave 5 all the way to the green target box, it is a very, very long distance. And because wave 3 as it is already extended, it is very rare for a wave 5 to be extended as well all the way to up here. So it would be better for wave 3 to continue to the upside, then have wave 4 and then have a shorter wave 5, where the target box that you see in the chart right here is between 34.5k and 35k. If we then go to the low time frame scenarios and switch to the 1 hour chart, this is what we're looking for. We're basically zooming in just a little bit. So this is the high of 3, the low of 4, and we're looking for that 5 to the upside. Now you see a couple of trading scenarios we had over the past couple of days, and we have then this 1, 2, 3, 4, where if we look at this wave 3, we have the yellow count 1, 2, 3, 4, and eventually a wave 5 to the upside, where now, as mentioned in my previous video, we were looking for price to take the double top, which it has just done. It wicked into the double top and at least now has a little bit of a correction after taking the liquidity. However, when we are looking at a potential wave 5, then the most common target area for a wave 5, if we look at the yellow count, that is, so we have wave 3 ending over here and then wave 4 down here, the most common target area for a wave 5 is the 1.236 and the 1.618, which is between 30.8k and 31.1k. And as you can see, if this is the end of wave 5, it did not reach this area. Now there are two different ways to calculate the high of a potential wave 5. The first one is going with the trend-based fib extension from the low of 1 to the high of 1 to the low of 4, toggle on the 1-to-1 and then have a little look. So now if you can see, we did cross the 1-to-1 fib. So the length of wave 1 compared to wave 5, we did cross it. So it is a legit wave 5. I mean, in the end, the only real rule for wave 5 is to take the high of wave 3. So, or else you have a truncated wave 5, which is extremely rare if it doesn't take the high of wave 3. So in a matter of fact, taking the high of a potential wave 3 over here does mean that this could be the high of a wave 5. It doesn't necessarily have to hit the most common area of a wave 5. So that would mean this wave 3 could be in, this wave 5 then could be in, and we would be looking for a blue 4. Now, if we compare over here, this wave 2 was quite a long sideways correction and also a complex correction, a WXY. Now, if we look at the rule of alternation in Elliott waves, if wave 2 is like longer and more complex and sideways, usually wave 4 is going to be shorter and simpler. And with simpler, usually it means a zigzag, which is a 5-3-5 move. Those are typically shorter, also a little bit deeper. So if we then take the measurements for a wave 4 out here, and we are just thinking ahead, and we toggle on the wave 4 over here, and I'll quickly put them on log because my chart is on log, and we drag it to the right side, then these are the targets to keep in mind. Now the 146, I'll untoggle it because that is actually very rare. So the 0.236, the 0.382 and the 0.5 are interesting targets for potentially this wave 4, where if we look at the levels, the 236 is 29.9k, the 382 at 29.5k, and the 0.5 and 29.1k, where also the 0.5 has confluence with this bit of range over here. So there's a little bit of structural support, one can say, at right about the level of the 0.5 at about 29.2k. So that could be quite interesting, that if price is going to move to the downside, potentially in a zigzag, because this wave 2 was quite complex, this could be a level of interest. And then after that wave 4, we then expect a move to the upside. Now the invalidation for this being a wave 4 would be if price goes and closes candles below the 0.5, especially if we go towards the golden pocket area, the 618. So basically the invalidation for me would moving below this range over here. That would be quite a deep drop for a wave 4, but then eventually after a 4 we would expect a move to the upside for wave 5. If we then look at the bearish scenario, which becomes the more unlikely the more often I show it, but at the moment it's still valid, right? It's still there. So wave 5 is already in, and we then have an A over here, blue A, a blue B, and then we expect an impulsive move to the downside in a wave C. So if price would now go below the lows over here, the invalidation of the more bullish scenario, this scenario could be activated where we could now have a impulsive move to the downside. So then the high of this wave B and the high of this C and then the high of this wave 5 has just been made. So now the invalidation goes there as well, and wave 4 goes down here. So what we have right now is then wave A is an impulsive structure, 5-wave structure, a complex correction in this wave B, and then wave C is a 5-wave move, a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have wave 5 over here. The reason that this is an alternative count has to do with the fibs over here, because the rare target for a wave B expanded flat, taken from the high of 5 to the low of A, is the gray 1.618, and the rare target for a zigzag, in this being an ABC, is the orange 1.618. So price went all the way to the rare targets for a wave B and the zigzag. However, those are still rare targets. And the word targets is still in that sentence. And as you can see, price did not close the candle above the gray 1.618 as well on the 1 hour time frame. So if price goes to the downside below this range over here, there we go, it is for me more likely we are going to continue to the downside further. If we then go to the micro scenarios, then this is what we have been looking for. So over here on the micro, what you're looking at right now is basically what I've shown in the past couple of videos. An ABC zigzag over here or a WXY, doesn't matter for the target. We had the long setup over here, very, very nice. Price took the liquidity of the double bottom over here, moved to the upside where I said the main target I look for is going to be the double top over here because there is liquidity resting above that target. Now price reached that target, so basically this trade can be closed in like the trading setup. No financial advice, guys, you know, it's YouTube, right? So from an Elliott Wave point of view, the double top was a very good target, and that is the educational bit. So now the question is, what is going to happen next? Well, we have to wait and see because it is so fresh, it's so new, so recent that price now took the double top that I also definitely need a little bit more structure to wait and see what other scenarios might pop up, because this scenario now basically ended, this ABC, the move to the upside in 5 waves, which then is this over here. So we then have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move structure. This could be still part of potentially an ending diagonal if you want to stretch it. So that basically means this was a wave 1, a 5 wave 1, then you get a 3 wave 2, a 5 wave 3, 3 waves in 4, and then eventually wave 5, where then wave 5 would end in the most common target area for the higher time frame wave 5, which is taken from the high over here to the low, which is between the 1.236 and the 1.618. But then again, this could be and is a valid high for a potential wave 5 where more downside can be expected. So for this particular scenario, the real invalidation would be to go below the low over here. So this is then the invalidation for eventually a bit more upside. And this would kind of confirm that we are either in a bigger wave 4 for eventually a wave 5 to the upside, or if we go below this range over here, we might see more downside to come. But because price just took the highs before recording this video as well, just a few hours, and we don't really have any other structure in place, we sometimes have to wait and see, and patience and discipline is also important in trading in general, but also especially with Elliott Wave. So I hope this video was helpful or valuable to you. I'd like to thank you for watching and subscribing, and I will see you at the next one. Bye bye.